In your book, in chapter 1, you discuss, quote, why do innovation projects fail? And you discuss that often there is no agreement on what a need is, a quote unquote need is. That is, all companies are out to provide the best quality products and services, but this means understanding the needs of the customers. So, how do customers align, and why would this be a discussion in your theory section in your book?
That's a great question, Jack. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. And, what I find so interesting is that, I don't think there's any debate that product teams around the world are trying to create products that address unmet customer needs in the markets that they serve. But in the research that we've done over the years, we know that about 71% of product teams don't agree on the best way to define a market. We know that about 90% of product teams don't agree on what a customer need even is. We know that product teams, over 80% of them, don't agree on the best way to prioritize customer needs. We know that about 77% of product teams don't agree on the best way to segment markets. Now, think about that for a second, right? We have product teams who are trying to create solutions that address unmet needs, but instead of debating the best solutions to address the unmet needs, people are debating what market they're in. They're debating what a need is. Never mind what the needs are and which needs are unmet, but what even is a need. And they're debating how to segment markets. And as a result of all this misalignment around the fundamentals of innovation, it's really creating the process. Of course, it has so many other symptoms that result from that. But I really think that the root cause of failure at innovation is this misalignment. And it results from a lack of a common language around a process that works, right? And I think what we bring to the table is a process that works in a language that makes sense of all this. So I'll just give an example. If people do indeed buy products to get a job done, and as you mentioned, Jack, whether that's an internal customer or an external customer, it's still valid. But if they buy products to get a job done, why don't we define a market as a group of people trying to get a job done instead of defining it around a technology or a product or something that's going to change quickly over time? Now, the benefit of doing that is that you're going to have a stable focal point around which to create value, because jobs, as stated, are stable over time. Like parents trying to pass on life lessons to children, for example. They've been trying to do that for years, right? So if that's the group of people and the job you're trying to get done that you're targeting, then let's define the market that way. And now, quite literally, you can go talk to those customers and define their needs. Now, again, if people are buying products to get jobs done, why don't we define a need as the metrics that people use to measure success when getting a job done?
And I think, Tony, that whole idea, it is quite innovative in the way that you think about the tool and the need and the solution. And it's quite a different way of looking at things, I would say.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
Instead of looking through the lens of the drill maker, we're looking through the lens of the hole maker. I think that's
Yeah.
the best way to
Yeah.
describe that. And so as you're standing there looking through that lens, you say, okay, well, clearly customers use a set of metrics to judge success when getting any job done. Now, it may be rather subconscious, but even preparing a meal, like you may say, I want to minimize the likelihood of overcooking the meal, or I want to minimize the likelihood of undercooking the meal, or I want to minimize the time it takes to cook the meal evenly, or so on. But there may be dozens of metrics that you're using to judge how successful you were at getting that job done. And we find this to be true in every market. And whereas customers may not know the best solutions, they certainly know what they're trying to achieve and how they measure success. So this goes after that notion that customers have latent needs, that they have needs they don't even know they have.
Yeah.
Uh, which I think is just a really debilitating myth. And you've probably heard the way that gets started too, with quotes from Henry Ford saying, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then people walk away from that thinking, well,
Yeah.
customers don't know what they want. They can't articulate their needs. But what Henry Ford was saying is people don't know what solutions they want. If I asked them what solution they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. But why are we asking customers what solutions we should go create for them, right? Our goal as innovators is to understand the problem, and then we come up with the solutions that will best address those unmet needs. So it just flips the equation on its head.
Absolutely. I love the example. That's a great way to drive home the whole idea that you discuss in your book.